Oh, there she is. Oh, your notes, okay.
While she's doing that, I'll show y'all this. This is on microfiche at the library. I found this when Manna opened the new building in 2002, and this is Betsy. So she's been here for a long time. And I want you to also see Lulu. This was the first logo of Manna. See the little lamb? Can you see that?
Oh, yeah.
That was Lulu. We grew up from then, though.
The early story of Manna that I have in my possession was actually given to me by a woman who was a member of St. Mark's in 1985 when Manna was founded, and she was on the ground floor. And she wrote this, and it's so beautifully written that I couldn't think that I could do any better. So this is the beginning story of Manna Soup Kitchen, and it's very, very inspiring. In September 1985, a woman died in a barn in the Durango area from starvation and exposure. On the door she wrote, "Nobody cares." Helen Miller, a woman of great compassion and Christian vision, read this account in a local paper and decided that something needed to be done for those who had no food. She asked her good friend, Catherine Ayers, to call a meeting of representatives from each church. In October 1985, a group came together to discuss the idea of starting a soup kitchen in our community. At the end of the meeting, 10 people from a variety of religious backgrounds formed a committee to accomplish this goal. This committee included Pastor Gordon Myers, Christ the King Lutheran Church, Tom Lorenza, The Vineyard, Charlotte Robinson, First Methodist Church, Sister Teresa and Sister Gallegos, Sacred Heart Catholic Church, Sally Parker, and Ken Dowd of St. Mark's Episcopal Church. Helen Miller, Catherine Ayers, and 3 others whose names I cannot remember. From the very beginning, each person on the committee had the same vision: a soup kitchen run by volunteers that would serve a meal each day to all who came to us. We knew we needed to be located in the neighborhood around Sacred Heart Church. At that point, we needed volunteers, money, and food items, as well as a place to prepare and serve our meal. As the months went by, optimism grew when one of the members made a $300 contribution. This financial donation was matched by a ministry in Colorado Springs named the Bijou House. We now had seed money and a bank account, but no place to cook. Some thought we might make sandwiches and hand them out on a street corner. One fellow had a motorhome. He could make the sandwiches and a pot of soup in his small motorhome kitchen. Then we could drive around to various locations and distribute lunches to those in need. Excited about this idea, we invited the health inspector to come and talk to us and learned that in order to be in compliance with community health laws, we would have to make our sandwiches and soup in a licensed kitchen. At the time, this seemed to be an overwhelming task. Where would we find this type of facility in our target area? Moreover, to be in compliance with the health laws, our idea of handing out sandwiches from the motorhome might lead to confrontation with city officials or large fines. Spring was coming. Committee members walked around many neighborhoods, talked with many local people, and looked for a licensed kitchen and a place to serve our food. As we talked to our friends and neighbors, many of these folks thought that we were idealistic for thinking that there were people in our affluent community who needed help with food. Undaunted, the committee decided to step out in faith. We decided that on May 1, 1986, we would begin preparing and serving food. If we could not find a place, We would use the motorhome and distribute our sandwiches from the street corner, despite warnings from the health inspector. During the next week, Pastor Myers and Tom Lorenza made a call to the pastor of the Spanish Assembly of God Church. The pastor said we could use his parking lot to serve our sandwiches. Another group went to the Four Corners Workshop, which is now closed. They had a licensed kitchen and did not use it at lunchtime. They agreed to let us prepare our soup and sandwiches in their facility. Suddenly, the pieces fell into place. In the meantime, the ministry needed a name. Many names were suggested, such as Fishes and Loaves or Bread of Life. When Pastor Myers suggested that we use the name Manna, the Durango Soup Kitchen, this seemed to fit our ministry. We had hoped that all we needed would be provided. On May 1, 1986, we purchased food and prepared sandwiches and juice in the licensed kitchen. The meal was packed into the motorhome and transported to the Spanish Assembly of God parking lot, where picnic tables had been set up. The first day, we stopped people as they walked down the street and gave them sandwiches. We handed out sandwiches to sanitation workers as they drove their truck through the alley. And we went door to door, passing out flyers and asking people to come have lunch with us. Soon the numbers of people we fed grew. By the end of the summer, we were serving 10 to 15 people, 2 days per week, and had approximately 20 volunteers. Also, the grocery stores agreed to give us produce and baked goods that could not be sold if we pick everything up. Restaurants began to donate food items. Slowly, people were learning about our soup kitchen. As fall approached, the committee became anxious. Where would we serve our lunch when the snow started to fly? Pastor Myers and Tom Lorenza approached the Assembly of God pastor. It was decided that if our group remodeled the Assembly of God church kitchen to meet health regulations, we could use the church facilities during the lunch hour to serve our meals. By the end of October 1986, the kitchen met health code requirements, and Manna Soup Kitchen had a permanent home for the next 8 years. Soon we were serving 20 to 25 people per day, 5 days per week. Each day, a different crew of volunteers representing churches, businesses, and service clubs came to prepare lunch. Manna Soup Kitchen became a community place where many contributed time, material goods, and culinary skills. In setting up the nonprofit status of the soup kitchen, accountant Bill Wilson, who filed the paperwork for our ministry, was asked by the IRS who would receive food at Manna Soup Kitchen. Bill replied that anyone who needed our services could eat at the soup kitchen, even a millionaire. Over the years, Manna Soup Kitchen has served many people from all walks of life. Those who volunteer and those who come to eat are part of the ongoing community of generosity and hope. Manna Soup Kitchen is an example of what a community of individuals can do to make their town a better place for everyone to live in. Then I'm going to fast forward to 2002. I'm speaking personally now. My husband Bob and I moved to Durango in December of 2001. By February 2002, we were already members of St. Mark's Episcopal Church and eager to become more involved in our new hometown. We had heard of Manna Soup Kitchen and wanted to volunteer. To our surprise, at that time, St. Mark's did not have a Manna crew. Initially, it was just Bob and me, but fairly quickly, we had other St. Mark's members volunteering to be a part of the St. Mark's crew. At that time, the duties were not extensive. Meals consisted of sandwiches made by volunteers in the basement of the First Baptist Church. Often the crew of volunteers, which was serving on any particular day, would also provide soup, which had been prepared in the volunteers' home kitchen. Manna had a part-time director, Kim Workman. She would come pick up the sandwiches, which we had spent an hour or so preparing, and take them in an ice chest to the parking lot of Sacred Heart Church, Catholic Church. Tables were set up and the sandwiches, along with other items which had been donated, were served. That part was the most fun, serving and interacting with our guests. As today, St. Mark's Day to Serve at Manna was the first Friday of each month. Eventually, Sacred Heart Catholic Church became concerned by the complaints of neighbors. Some of those who were served lunch would linger in the nearby neighborhood afterwards. Sacred Heart Church decided that Manna was no longer welcome to serve meals in their parking lot. Fortunately, plans had already begun to build a bricks and mortar structure on property that was leased to Manna by the city of Durango. But until that structure was completed, we volunteers served our sandwiches from the back of Kim's truck in Schneider Park. The new building at 1100 Avenida del Sol was built entirely with donated funds and labor. In December 2002, the St. Mark's crew had the honor of being the first volunteer crew to prepare and serve a meal in Manna's new building. What a joyous experience that was. Thank you.
So I'll pick it up in 2004. And at that time, the garden started at Manna, and Brooke will tell you more about that. And then things went swimmingly along, serving the meals and having the dining room in the building that had just been built. So but by 2014, Nana realized that there was more that they could do than just feed people, and the culinary school in the new building came into existence. And they used that building for administrative purposes as well. Manna hosted its first class of culinary program students in that 2014 year. And since then, students graduate every year with culinary and food handler certificates. The program boasts a job placement rate of approximately 70%. During all this time, Manna has partnered with almost every other service provider that's a nonprofit in Durango. And I'm biased, but I do want to mention one nonprofit in particular that started here at St. Mark's that Manna has been significantly involved with, and that is our Neighbors in Need Alliance. In 2019, Manna supported and mentored a small group from this church, St. Mark's, in the creation of an alliance of interfaith groups and individuals and community advocates for the homeless. And since then, Manna has been an invaluable supporter of Nina ever since. And I want to mention two of the most recent partnerships we've had with them. In 2020, when the dining room closed and Purple Cliffs was opening, Manna began delivering food to the residents at Purple Cliffs. And I think that played a big part in keeping all those residents there healthy during the whole COVID lockdown. Also, in 2021, the City Council said, well, they just needed more information about the unhoused in Durango. Who were they and why were they here? So to that end, Nina partnered with Manna and Project Moxie to produce this multi-page document of the unhoused in La Plata County. So that's about what's been going on since the time Betsy got us started over there. But I want to share with you all a reflection that I read recently from Richard Rohr's daily email that I get. And it spoke to me about Manna. So I've got some pieces of that reflection that I want to share with you. And it's about the story Manna from Heaven that appears in the book of Exodus. So the compulsion to repeat the past is apparent in the biblical story of Exodus. When Moses led the Israelites to freedom, they often yearned to return to Egypt, even though they were provided with their daily meals with bread with manna from heaven. The Israelites still looked back at their time in Egypt with nostalgia, because they could not bear the uncertainty they faced as being a free people instead of enslaved. So one of the first lessons that we all must learn in order to be free is how to bear uncertainty and trust in the unknown. Each day for 40 years, the Israelites would have to go out and gather their daily supply of manna, just enough for that day. The manna provided the necessary preparation for a freedom that requires an ability to bear uncertainty, to not know what's going to happen next, and to trust in the unfolding journey. To go forward, the Israelites also needed to exercise curiosity, to take in and explore new experiences, and the daily appearance of manna from heaven became the vehicle for this. So now in 2020, COVID changed everything. Manna could no longer serve meals in its dining room. So the question was, what did that mean for their future? It's now uncertain. Does manna retreat to the safety of the past and just hold tight until they can open the dining room again? It's very hard not to want to go back to what you know, but to open the doors for something new. And I thought this story really expressed what, fortunately, Ann Morris has been able to accomplish.
Gotten a little teary-eyed here. I had the pleasure of having the most amazing job here in Durango. I get to work with just amazing community members as yourselves. These two ladies up here have just been such guidance for me. And through their guidance, the volunteers, our community members, our program participants, our staff, with everything that started happening with COVID, we were fortunate enough to learn a lot. Just to jump back 1 year, in 2019, we, Nina, and other partner organizations were able to work with the city and the county to work on the strategic plan on homelessness. So the city and county hired the Athena group, which then we spent about 6 months in meetings to help form the strategic plan on homelessness. And in that plan was, one of the goals was that the community needed a navigation center, which we also call resource center. And just to let you know, Carolyn's had a lot of influence in this at Manna since the day I was hired. She took me aside and was like, letting me know what a lot of the vision was with Manna and with the supportive services. Because as we know, food security is just one piece of the puzzle. It really is food, it's employment, it's housing security, it's mental health, physical health. All of this really impacts how a person takes the next steps to self-sufficiency and to their goals. And so with knowing this and with being able to sit through this amazing community process, when COVID hit, I believe it was on March 18th, 2020, Shannon called me that weekend, and we had just heard that we were not able to serve congregate meals anymore. And so it was at that minute that the team decided to pivot, to move everything outside and start doing supportive services and meals outside. We did not close one day throughout COVID. The staff was just amazing in supporting the community and showing up every day. And so through this, we also started gaining more partnerships with a lot of community partners, such as La Plata Family Coalition Center, Companeros. We started working more with Pine River Shares, the food bank, and through the working, we learned that there were a lot of gaps that Manna was not filling. Not everybody felt safe coming to Manna. There was a huge stigma surrounding Manna that only people experiencing homelessness could go there and get services. So we started learning more and more about all the great need that was still in our community. And so it was fortunate that at this time, the board, the staff, got together and we started strategic planning. We invited different partner organizations and program participants to join us. And through this strategic plan, we came up with a new model that we had looked at other models, so like Metro Caring in Denver and other places that helped us get these ideas and see what was working. And so then you see what we have today, which is the community kitchen, food market, and resource center. And then from figuring out the strategic plan, we were fortunate enough to write a bunch of grants and get some capital grant funding. And then in 2021, hire Context Architecture, Carolyn Hunter, and FCI to help us remodel this traditional soup kitchen into what you see today, which is just a transformation of just all the amazing community members that have been helping us. And so we now have a resource center, so people come and we do ask for more information than we did in the past. So we do ask for a person's name. We also ask people for their demographics and to do a needs assessment. And so with this information, it helps us figure out what are the additional gaps, and also it's valuable information so that we can continue to secure funding. We do not ask people for income verification or for an ID. In the Resource Center, we provide supportive services such as transportation. We do bus tokens, bus passes. We help people with employment, and then housing support such as rental assistance, security deposits, utilities. We also we do showers, thank you, laundry service, and a bunch of other things. I'm going to pass it to Shannon really quick.
I thought it was last.
Well, to describe what the takeout window and the food market look like. And just to let you know, so since we opened March 28th, 2022, we have inputted 1,650 individuals into our computer system Empower. That's unduplicated. So we are tracking the participants and the services provided.
All right, so I'll talk about the food. So we're serving meals Monday through Saturday, and it's from 9 in the morning to 1. In the past, it was we would just do meals for like an hour, so we really like space that out. Then on Sundays, there's like a community fridge and bag that we stock Saturdays so that there's still meals on Sunday. We're doing approximately like this time of year as well, like 80 to 150 meals a day. We are also like doing a lot of food to like 50 meals up to the college every day. We're doing 200 meals a month to Silverton. So there's a senior center up there where people aren't able to access food. And there's a lot of other stuff too with the food, but what else?
Food market.
Oh, the food market. So the food market, it's all based off donations mostly, and it's kind of opened. It's Tuesday through Friday, and it's open that same like time period. And then Wednesdays it's open at night, which is 3 to 7. And we work a lot with Care and Share, which is like Colorado's food bank. So they help distribute a lot of free food down here to Durango. And I think like last month was 22,000 pounds of food went through the market. We looked at a lot of different models all over the country about it. And there's a lot of different things. So we're just starting off right now. We're like a year into it, but I really didn't want to like police it at all. And going through like the data, you can really see that like a family of 5, takes a lot more food than one individual. So what I've seen, I haven't seen any like real abuse going on in the market, which is really cool. And also like, I didn't want people to you go to City Market, no one's telling you what you can and can't have, and I think that brings a lot of dignity. If you're struggling with whatever you are in your life, it's nice to be able to have that kind of feeling, just like everyone else. What else do I have? Oh, question.
Tell us about the culinary center.
Okay, so the culinary school, I have an instructor, her name is Megan, and, you know, especially with COVID, I saw that like a lot of the restaurants, you know, they're struggling to get staff. So I changed the program around to like a fast 5-week program to get students in that program as fast as possible. We connected a lot with the high school, so like big picture, things like that to get them up there. So it's like a fast culinary program, and I was like toying around with it for the past years. It was like, as a chef in town and I would hire people out of the program, it was like, I understand, like, you know how to make the 5 other sauces or this or that. It's like, do you know how to clean the fryer? You know, so I really wanted like to make it like, do you want to stand there for 5 hours and chop potatoes? You know, like all that other stuff you can learn at the restaurant. I want it to be more of like practical. So we've had a lot of good feedback from the restaurants in town with that. There's an adult program right now, and we kind of like talk to the different restaurants, chefs, whatever it may be, and then just kind of place them in there, and then we just keep checking on them, you know. And it's been going really well. Anyone have any other questions? Oh, volunteering, should I do that?
Yeah.
Okay, so volunteering, if you want to volunteer at Manna, if it's not on St. Mark's Day, you can also just come and see me. I can set you up through the online program that's called VOMO. It's kind of a pain, so like Monday through Saturday, you can come by anytime and I can help set that up. And you help cook and clean and all that kind of stuff. And it's a lot of fun, but it's also like pretty volatile in the kitchen. I think a lot of the volunteers will tell you about that. But I think that's all right. I'll pass it to the garden.
And then we have 2 other programs that started in the last 2 years. We have a street outreach program that goes out and meets people where they're at. So they were integral with Purple Cliffs. So when Purple Cliffs was here, the street outreach team was going out and actually bringing supplies, bringing daily meals, and also connecting with people to build trust to take the next steps to stable housing. With the closure of Purple Cliffs, the team really was out there supporting whatever need was needed. Yeah, sitting with Nina and Vineyard Church really to support those needs. The street outreach team still goes out. We also do a lot with the warming center, so they're there 2 days a week bringing supplies, and also we act as a mail drop-off. Manna does. So anyone who's experiencing homelessness does not have an address. Without an address, you can't get an ID, you can't get a job, you can't, take the next steps to housing. So I'm not sure what wonderful volunteer back in the day reached out to the DMV and connected us as we're able to provide our address, we're able to provide letters certifying that a person gets mail with Manna, and so therefore they can use the 1100 Avenida del Sol as their place of residency to take and get an ID, which is just beyond valuable. And so then we also have started a partnership with Latino Coalition of Community Leadership in 2021 and did the Wages program. And what that is that people that are coming to La Plata County from prison who are going on parole that are classified as medium or high recidivism, they can come into the program, and our case manager provides employment, provides supportive services and housing support to help that person take the next steps and to really become into the community. So those have been 2 really valuable programs that we weren't able to access before COVID. So we've just seen a lot of growth. And then in the garden, we actually had a bit of growth, but we've actually looked to more focusing on the Manna Garden. So about 2 years ago, Jim and Lori Carver offered us to use their farm to also produce food for Manna. It was a great opportunity. We learned a lot, but we just didn't have the staff capacity or the resources to continue that. And so this year we're really focusing on the Manna Garden. and we're very fortunate to have Brooke here with us. Brooke worked for the Garden Project of Southwest Colorado for 6 years and was at Manna's Garden for those years. And then she transitioned to do some other amazing things. And then this year she has come back to be our garden manager at the garden. So we're really excited. So here she is to talk about that.
Yay! Yeah, we had a lot of construction going on at the Manna Garden, so this year is kind of a rebuilding, re-beautification year. We have this new beautiful gazebo and then a big pavilion, so there's going to be a really nice place for people to eat outside. So we're going to be focusing on making that a beautiful place for people to be, and a place that demonstrates small scale gardening and what you can do in a small space. We'll be growing organically, we'll be biodynamic again, and I'd love to invite you guys to our work days, which are on Thursdays from 10 to noon, and I'm gonna leave this on your bulletin board. Where, yeah, we'll be teaching you guys about gardening and biodynamics. We'll do kind of like a thematic work day every week. We'll focus on something different. Yeah, and we're also doing a plant sale. So right now we have about 1,600 baby plants that are trying to make it through the next 3 nights until maybe the temperatures will be more normal for April. So we're going to be doing that on May 26th and 27th. That's a Friday and a Saturday. And we'll get you guys some more information about that. And thanks for being such a great part of our community, too.
Brooke, what time on Thursdays?
Thursdays, 10 a.m. to noon.
10 to noon. Thank you.
Starting May 4th.
So you say there's going to be different programs each week, like educational programs?
Yeah, it'll just be a part of our work day. So if we're doing something like spraying a biodynamic preparation for the soil, we'll just talk about why it works and how you can kind of bring that into your home garden.
Will there be a place that we can access what will be taught on various weeks?
Oh man, it's going to be really dependent on what's happening with the weather and what's happening with our needs that week. I wish that I was that prepared, but I don't think I will be. I'm sorry. Also, some of the places that our produce is going to go, it's going to go into the kitchen, of course. So one of our big goals is to have a salad for every meal from the kitchen. So that's something that we're trying to do this year. And then we also want to support the resource center. So we want to have some of the produce go into that market where people can take it home and enjoy it. Yeah, any questions? I'm excited to see you guys out in the garden.
Brooke made one point. We do have a structure being built in the garden right now. A lot of our volunteers, when we switched to this model, did give us amazing feedback, one of which is one of the reasons why we come to volunteer is so that we can eat and, be with community members. And so we are building a structure. It is complete, but we're just waiting for a fence and the snow to clear. And so this structure will be used all year round. It's open, so during the summer you can enjoy the beautiful garden. During the winter, it is like a tent-like structure where the sides come down. We will have heat in there. And so it'll seat about 50 people. So everybody can go and enjoy a meal in there. We'll be using it also for garden education, fundraising, and community events if any organizations want to use it. I think that's
Other questions while we have them captured here? Okay, yes ma'am.
I would just like to say, outside of it being Rock Festival last week, with the creation that they did for us food-wise, for every luncheon, was just amazing. And the people were so thrilled and pleased with everything that you did for us for those luncheons. Really, Sean helped us out, his crew helped us out tremendously. And every luncheon was such an excitement for everybody that was coming here.
I'll do anything for you.
So if you need a caterer for any event, please, they are awesome. They are awesome. Thank you.
Other questions or comments?
Tell me about how you take our money. How can we contribute?
Financially, or
Yeah.
so financially, we do have a. Financially, we do have a website, so you can donate online. You can also write us a check. We do have donation boxes also at the Resource Center in the takeout window. But we've gotten donations of all kinds. So like we take vehicles and use them in our programming. We take money, we take stocks. Financially, really, we can figure it out. But you can also designate your money. And so we do a lot of restricted grants and donations. And what that means is if there's a particular program that really relates to you and you want to see thrive, we designate the money to use in that program. So whether it's the Manna Garden, whether it's meals, whether it's the Resource Center, the culinary program. So we really want people to know where their money's going. And then also, that's where you feel like that need is. And so I hope that answered. So our website's mannasoupkitchen.org. And then we should have flyers, but I didn't bring anything, so I could drop something off.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Any other questions?
One in the back. Can
Yeah.
children?
Yeah, children can open the garden.
It kind of depends on the kid, but yeah. yeah, of course. I mean, depending on how young the kid is, if they're really young, there has to be someone there to kind of keep an eye on them. Don't just drop them off on me. There you go, man. Have a good
We
day.
used to have a no kids rule in the garden, but we don't anymore. That was just mostly for sometimes people would drop off big groups of children. So yeah, bring a kid if you're in charge of it.
Any other questions?
I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for you all. What you have taught me coming from Boston area out here 20 years ago and allowed me to learn about giving back. I always give back when working for the Salvation Army and did food preparation there, that type of thing. But you all are superb. And for all of you to volunteer up there that don't, please give it a shot. It is just amazing. And you'll come out of there feeling like, how lucky I am. How lucky I am. And how beautiful Durango is. How beautiful and how beautiful Manna is. And giving back to people.
I think Marty said it best. First, I would like to say thank you for everybody for coming and participating. I'd like to very much so thank our panel. I learned a lot. I'm sure everybody learned a lot. So thank you. God bless you all, and we'll do it again soon. Thank you.